my first question, because obviously your character's called Stefan in this.
Yes,
As a Stefan,
right?
yeah.
Yes.
Look, I'm not going to lie, but there's not many films with a lead actor called Stefan, particularly romantic comedy. So I was very pleased about that.
Okay,
Um,
that's believe that too.
I was just wondering because I feel like I heard the name Stefan in it a lot, and I thought maybe did I just hear that because it's my name and I'm not used to it, or do you think the name Stefan is said in it a lot?
I think that's a very English way, because when I read American scripts or British scripts, you have this custom or habit to use the name a lot, which is very polite, very nice. In Poland, we actually we are not using it so much. So I learned as a Polish actor to add my name to the script or ask my friends actors to add my name to the script so the audience will remember, oh, he's playing Stefan. But I didn't have to do that this time here in our film Up on the Roof because it was naturally in the British way written down. And so probably, yes, you were very oversensitive hearing.
So.
But there is a bit of true in Europe in this as well.
Yeah, well, as a Stefan, I was very pleased to hear my name over and over again. But what was it when you first got the script? Then what was it that made you think, right, this is a role for me?
I probably will surprise you, but I had this title 30 years ago when I was a student, and I was speaking to my friend Rafał Kapeliński, who is a great director based in London now for some time, and he had this idea to do a film about immigrants who are living on the roof. And it was a different storyline at that time. Obviously, my character was much younger. So I remember we were sharing a beer and discussing about this idea, about the projects he's planning to do in his life. Young students just dreaming about future work. But Up on the Roof was mentioned, and I started to read the script, the first versions, and then it naturally, I forgot about it because life goes on. I was playing different stuff, and suddenly, after 30 years, this title is coming back, and they still, different director. This time it was Ben Hecking, and it had a completely different storyline as well. Maybe not completely, but the same title and the same lead man role, and not the same 30 years older. So it was great to come back to some students' dreams. I love London. It was great to come to London and meet Natalia Tena as well, and a great crew, a lot of young people. We were all so hungry of acting and being on set because it was pandemic time when we started to shoot it. So, I'm very surprised now. I'm not surprised. I'm happy. I'm glad that when I'm going down the streets of London, the same streets I used to walk when we were shooting it, and London is alive as it used to be. But it is strange actually to remember these moments when it was empty. It was completely empty. The restaurants closed and everything. Everybody, all over the world. But so yeah, it was strange because we were trying to fill streets of London with extras because there was no natural background there.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear about it being sort of in the works of 30 years. Are you quite pleased you're playing the role now? Do you think you're playing it now in a better way to you might have all those years ago because you've kind of got more lived experiences?
Of course. Being an actor is like having an instrument and getting to know it much better. Of course, it's changing all the time, this instrument, but you're still trying to make it in tune. I think it would be completely different role and completely different story if it would be done at that time, 30 years ago. I hope I developed my craft as an actor through these 30 years. And yes, I could think that, yeah, I hope, yes, maybe it was better done than it could be done.
Yeah. It feels kind of rare, and it shouldn't feel unique in any way, but to have the male in a lead romantic comedy, not be English, Italian, or French, really. And I just want, I mean, I was wondering, is it a shame to you that it's an avenue that has felt maybe restricted for Polish actors in the past? But is it also encouraging to know that roles like this do now exist?
I don't know why, but there you touched the point, very sensitive point, that actually probably Polish people, we have, I would say, bad PR in the way we are not, we are so proud of our history, but a lot of filmmakers are making, foreign filmmakers are making film about Polish history. I don't know why it's like that. We should probably think about being more open and take matters in our own hands and tell our own stories and things like that. Probably the limitation of our language, which is quite difficult. I don't know if you know, but Polish is one of the most difficult languages in the world. So it's I know that, when foreigners are thinking about Poland, it's like kielbasa, vodka, and the war. That's the cliche thinking about us. But our cuisine is beautiful and great and very tasty. We are a very hospitable nation and very honorable as well. We are proud of our history, of our characters, sometimes strong characters, heroic characters. So there is a lot of heroic stories in our history as well. Very filmy, very good subjects for the film. So probably we should be more proud of ourselves and try to sell it better to the world. But lately, as you mentioned, these opportunities are coming, and a lot of my friends, Polish actors, are starting their careers abroad. I had as well this opportunity, played in the United States For All Mankind on Apple TV, Night Sky on Amazon Prime with Sissy Spacek and J.K. Simmons, and Marvel show called Hawkeye as well. Of course, the roles for Polish actors, most of them are like Russian bad guys or some gangsters, but sometimes we are lucky enough to get interesting part. And I was very happy that Stefan in Up on the Roof is a very nice, good guy, and this storyline is like a simple feel-good movie. You could enjoy time. It's not like I was surprised how warmly it was received. Yesterday we had like a screening here in London, and people were coming out and saying, "Oh my God, it's a great film!" And everybody was so surprised, and I was as well surprised that they are so surprised, because maybe we are too modest, too timid, to be proud all the time, and we have to learn it. I have to learn it myself as well. I'm from the different crooked generation a little bit.
Yeah, I thought it was really warm film. It really reminded me of kind of classic 90s romantic comedies in a really nice way, not in a pastiche kind of way, but in a kind of quite affectionate way. It sort of reminded me of my childhood in a sort of strange way. I thought it was very warm. But I was going to ask as well, because you can't speak to the male lead in a rom-com and not ask him about the female lead. You have to obviously create not just the kind of sometimes romantic comedies, the man and the woman meet in the film, but your characters have a history. They've got a whole past together. So the characters, you need to believe as an audience that they've known each other for years and they've shared so much. So I just wondered about creating that bond with Natalia and kind of bringing that to life on screen.
It was we didn't have enough time. As I mentioned, it was a very difficult time to meet because it was pandemic still. But it was like instant. Sometimes you are meeting a person and you have like you don't have. There is not this awkward pauses during your conversation, because you feel that it's like a great friend to talk to, and that was the case with Nat, and actually the whole crew was like really very open and very nice. I was afraid, of course, and stressed a little bit, because I understood that everybody on this set speaks better English than me, and suddenly I have to like a lead role for Polish actor in English. But my character was Polish, so even my own mistakes were natural and good, and that Nat encouraged me in this way. So sometimes we were even improvising. So and she was very helpful. And sometimes you are meeting actors, you don't have to actually try, because it's the matter of being concentrated on this partner and listen to her and follow her steps a little bit. So we were like, it was a great pleasure. Lately, I've seen John Wick, chapter 4, with her role, and she was playing Russian, very credible, and it is rare to hear foreign actors, especially English-speaking actors, having such a good accent in Slavic languages. So my Polish ear bought it, and I congratulate her for this part, and I hope that she will develop a great career. She's a very talented actress.
Oh, I love John Wick 4. So it's such a good film. Talking of chapter 4 of something, of course, For All Mankind, as you mentioned that before, what a great show. Do you reckon we might see more of Sergei in chapter 4, in season 4, I should say?
Yes, I think I can say this, that yes, my character, a Russian scientist, is a few months ago we finished the 4th season. I mean, shooting. Now it's like during post-production. So probably soon. I don't know when exactly. Subscribers of Apple TV will hear more about season number 4 of For All Mankind. It's a great series. Actually, when I landed here in London, and I was trying to figure out how to get from Heathrow, I asked somebody in the uniform, and he was like, "You are an actor. I know you. You're Sergei from For All Mankind." So I felt like, oh my God, what a fame, international fame met me. And it was a great pleasure to have this witness. So yeah, this series had a lot of fans, and it's really good. It's alternative history of the storyline is like, what would happen if Russians were first on the moon? And actually, it's like a science fiction film, but very close to the reality. And everything is possible. Actually, when you think about it, it's possible. The vision of the world after this small change in history is very credible.
Mm. Yeah, it's a great show. I just feel like Sergei and Margot are doomed, though. But hopefully, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I was going to. I mean, you mentioned, because obviously it's great to hear you're back for season 4. But it's interesting because obviously you made Hawkeye as well, which is another great show. I just wondered, because obviously fans of that want a season 2. I just wondered how it is for fans. We're always kind of waiting and hoping to get news of new seasons, of characters returning. How is it for an actor, that kind of wait? Do you make a show, you really love it, you love playing a character, but the decision as to whether there's going to be more is out of your hands? Is that something that is quite nerve-wracking, or do you just have to push it to one side and just ignore it and not think about it?
I should forget and ignore it, but it's nerve-wracking, of course. And the same thing was with Night Sky, for example. We were planning, I had even my own plans, like to be in States longer. And then it occurred, no, we will not continue. There is still a percentage of hope that maybe, with Hawkeye as well. We still hope, and fan base as well. I remember reading a lot of comments asking if it'd be a great idea, and that sometimes even fans are writing the ideas for the next season. And to be honest, probably producers are really paying attention to these comments, because sometimes I remember during our shooting, when we were reading about Hawkeye, and the comments from fans, I remember I read something like, "I hope they will speak a lot of bros," because I'm a part of Tracksuit Mafia in this in this series. And actually, we were speaking with actors, with my friends. Yeah, we should actually try to add more bros, because that's the comic characters. That's what they are famous for. And so in the way fans are also changing the script and changing the final cut, and I'm very proud because I received a great award. I could call it a Hasbro figure of my character Thomas. I'm sorry, but it is impossible to buy it in Poland. So I'm very jealous that in UK you could still order it. But I've heard that this figure is like this pre-sale is already sold out.
Oh wow! Do you have it in your house? Have you got one?
No. I'm waiting, and actually I'm like spreading the news. Maybe somebody will help me to put my hands on it, because I know it's sold out, and in Poland it's very difficult to buy it, and a lot of Polish fans as well, and then fans of Marvel wants to buy it. So probably it will be a expensive collectible item.
Well, surely if anyone's going to be able to get hold of it, you should.
Yeah, I would love to.
I'm sure you will. Well, my final question then, really, because you mentioned about when you landed in Heathrow and the kind of being, someone recognized you from something, and the kind of idea of international fame. I mean, being in a Marvel show, how has that experience been, just in terms of knowing how big the fan base is? I mean, I went to the Star Wars convention. I was working there last week, and seeing fans is incredible. I mean, what's your experience been like, being in something so big, and kind of that relationship you have with so many fans?
At the beginning, I was calling myself a Marvel fan, but when I met the real impact, real fans, I understood that no, it's a completely different title to be a real Marvel fan. You have to know the whole story, and even the smallest details, they are so well prepared. It's incredible. And yes, the impact, the big buzz about this was overwhelming, and I was really very, very surprised. And in Poland, I was really very happy as well that my countrymen were so proud that, oh yes, we have a Polish actor in Marvel universe, and every Polish word I sneaked in was like, were appreciated, and it was a big fun, but a big shock as well for me that it's such a huge buzz. And the role, of course, is just a part of Tracksuit Mafia, but sometimes small roles could have as well a big fan base, which is inspiring.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, hopefully we'll see more of you in the second season if it comes, and also I hope you get hold of your thing of yourself.
Fingers crossed for it. That's the British way, or in Poland we are doing this. That's the
really? I quite like
that. Polish way.
Okay. Well, we'll cross our fingers and we'll put our hands down like that.
Yes. Let's do it both, right? This. But be careful with your fingers.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for speaking to me today. It's a real pleasure, and best of luck with the release of the show. And I'm sure we'll catch up again one day.
Thank you, Stefan.
Cheers. Take care. Bye-bye. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!